health therapist for more than 35 years, I have to say. So it's a long period of time, yeah, being in health. So that was my life before Zinzino, and today, of course, as an entrepreneur in the health sector, working with our consultants.
That's good, thank you. And Jacqueline, this is a new face for me, so I'm curious.
So 10 years ago, which was way before Zinzino, I was an accountant, and I lost my mum and dad in the same week, and I completely changed my career because I know that they died of diet and lifestyle-related conditions, and I had an autoimmune condition at the time. I wanted to save myself. So I retrained as a holistic practitioner, nutritional therapist, and when Zinzino came into my life, I was an award-winning nutritional therapist and best-selling author.
Come on.
That's And Michaela.
Well, I was just done with my studies when I found Zinzino. I had just been examined for a short time, but I'm a Swedish nutritionist.
So, Sasha, with the background that you had in health and everything, Zinzino focuses strongly on test-based personalized health. How do you see this approach changing how people take responsibility for their own well-being? What have you seen from what you did before and what you see now?
Yeah, I tell a small story. I was an athlete in different disciplines, as you said, in football. That was not my sport. I was part of the bicycling national team in Austria. I was skiing, and I had a lot of titles there. And when I was bicycling in my youth, we had a trainer. We were going on the streets, and they were going by car. And every 15 minutes we had to stop. And then our trainer came and taking our pulse and checking what our pulse was. And today, for everyone from you, it's completely normal that you wear a smartwatch, yeah, tracking all your personal things, yeah, and if you're going for training, you have control about the process, you know exactly what your body does, yeah, you can do really effective training. We couldn't do that, yeah, every 15 minutes our pulse was taken manually, yeah, counted 10 seconds, and so that's the change of time. So test-based nutrition is the logical consequence. It's the next step to this. Everyone is used to use control about the things you do. And so we are the pioneers, give this control to the nutrition field. That's the point, how I see it.
Thank you. Jacqueline, many people enter or go into health entrepreneurship because of your personal story. Obviously, you shared a little bit of that as well. Was there a defining moment where you saw you committed to Zinzino with your personal story? Was that something that was connected with what you've been through?
Absolutely, it was. So obviously, living with my parents, I became very passionate about preventative health, and I thought that I was doing absolutely everything right. I'd reversed my own autoimmune condition. I'd written a best-selling book which had an entire chapter about inflammation. So actually, when somebody gave me the Zinzino test, it took me 6 months to do it because I thought, there's no way I'm going to need this. And actually, my result was shocking. I was 17-1. I was at 2.2% on the immunity index. I was the highest risk for cardiovascular disease. So I wasn't preventing anything at all, and I thought I was. And worse still, as a practitioner, that's the advice I was giving to my clients. But the thing I loved the most about it as a concept was the fact that when you look at functional medicine testing, it can be incredibly expensive, it's out of reach to many, many people, and it often doesn't give us the whole picture or all the answers. So this was something that was affordable, was giving us some key biomarkers and allowing people to take better control of their health in a really simple way.
I have to ask you a follow-up question on that, because sometimes you speak with people, and I find this really interesting, and in your case, that you have this background, you talk about that you think you know a lot about health, but to be able to be open to test-based nutrition since to have an open mind to be able to change your mindset. So was there a time where you felt like, no, I don't, as you say, I don't have to take the test? Or were you like thinking, I'm already, because I know a lot of people have this, I'm already doing the right stuff, I don't need supplement. Did you have that in yourself? You felt like, yeah, I don't need these supplements.
So my sponsor said to me when I said, listen, I don't need this test, I'm already taking an omega-3, and he said, but how do you know it's working? Why don't you just test to see if it's working? Because if it is working, then you can get a refund on your test, and if it's not working, you can redirect your spending. And I thought, well, nothing to lose then really, is there? And also, that's something I could pass on to my clients. And it is a line still to this day that I use when people say, I don't need that, I'm already on omega-3, and it's exactly, it's so simple. Well, how do you know it's working? Let's release the test.
It's a good sponsor. Miguel, what do you wish more people understood about the connection between nutrition, balance, and long-term well-being?
Well, every time when we're heading to destination, we have to look at what do we need. If we're taking our car out for a drive, for example, and you're planning to go 100 miles, and your tank gives you 100 miles in that car, is it enough to fill up the car up with 95%? No, you're not going to reach your destination. So if your destination is 100 years of age, if you're able to live, like a lot of people are saying when asking them how long time they want to live, they're like 75, 80, 100 seems too long to them because they, based on their experiences, they've only seen people being miserable when they're aging. So if your destination is 100 years, we have to look at what does the body need, just exactly like a car, need the gas, need the oil and everything. And there are stuff that is called essential for a reason. When it's called essential, it means that we cannot live without it. So what happens to our lifespan if we're constantly giving the body a little bit too little of the fatty acids, a little bit too little of the magnesium, of the vitamin C? And that's something I'm trying to explain to people. It's not about that you necessarily are eating unhealthy, but are you on key where you need to be every single day? So that's what I wish people to understand when they're reading up on the science about longevity. We need to take control over our health.
Sasha, final question for you. What was it that convinced you that biohacking or data-driven nutrition is the future? And was there a moment that also a little bit question that said exactly that clicked for you? Or was it love at first sight?
No, it was in a completely different way. Because I didn't have an idea about that. Yeah, I contacted Senep actively, for me, my sponsor, because of the balance oil. Because I had patients, I'm a psychologist also, I had patients with major depression, and I read the studies that there are really, really good results with omega-3. And my praxis is near to a pharmacy or connected to a pharmacy, in the same building. And I tried a lot of the products there, and none of my clients had results. So therefore I was searching for a solution. Then I read deeper into the studies. I saw, there are differences in the products. And then I read in the web about Cincino Balance Oil, and said, this product could be a product where you have results. And so I was looking, where can I get it? How can I get it? And then I found Senep on Facebook, contacted her. We met in a hotel in Vienna, and she said, it's network marketing. And I said, oh no. Network marketing. I never did a thing like this. I don't have the best opinion about this. And so, I said, okay, I join, but please leave me alone with these events, or building up a team. I'm not interested in that. I need product for my patients. And after this story, I realized, there is a test. There are deflected. Oh, there are data showing that other products doesn't work, and this product works. And of course, it was great to have this, but it was not my entrance point. It was really balanced oil in this composition, in this very special formulation that brought me to Sensino.
So that was first time with the balance oil, and then you fell in love with the profession.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's good. Jacqueline, final question for you. Sensino focuses on balancing the body rather than quick fixes. Why do you think sustainable health solutions are often hard for people to commit to?
Well, because we've been completely brainwashed. Generations of us have been brainwashed into believing that if we have a health issue, we go to the medical profession and they get us better. And actually, if we look at what truly happens, they are silencing symptoms. They're not a healthcare system, they're a sick care system. So we, as Sensino partners, have a huge responsibility to educate people that they need to take ownership of their own health, and it's not about quick fixes, it's about preventative health. You might hear people say a lot of the time, well, I've looked at my inflammation in my body and I've been told I don't have any inflammation. If you've got inflammation in your body, then it's like looking at a car crash that's already happened. What we've got the ability to do is prevent a car crash from happening. And that is so powerful, because if I go back to what you were saying at the beginning about your family history and what I shared with my mum and dad, I honestly believe if somebody had gone and told them about preventative health and about taking a test to get key biomarkers and start to empower themselves to make better choices outside of a medical setting, hand on my heart, I believe they'd be here today. So everybody in this room, think about somebody who you've lost, and think about you have got the power to prevent that from happening to somebody else. So go out there and speak to people and stop that from happening.
Thanks for sharing. Michaela, through your work with Sensino, what is one insight about human health that completely changed how you yourself live your life?
I want everyone in here to write down this word, epigenetics. And if you go out and research that, you understand that everything that they are blaming, most of aging symptoms and most of what they say is in your DNA, is actually us turning on and off those genes, expressions. So if we start understanding that, we will be able to control our health. And for me, Sensino was a tool to keep on my journey to explore epigenetics, to try to prevent the diseases I potentially could develop because of my genes as well. And I was clearly also guessing instead of measuring. I thought I was going to ace that test. I had been preaching about omega-6. Omega-3, for over 6 years. I was eating lots of it, always been supplementing, and yet my balance came back 9 to 1, and I had an omega-3 index of 5.6%. So, what did that change? I'm not sitting around waiting for my doctors to say, it's time for your blood work. I take my blood works myself every single year. And more often than that.
Thank you. I'm really thank you all three for sharing, and I think that if we fast forward, I wouldn't say 10 or 20 years, I think we're even sooner there now. I believe people will look back and think the same way they did with smartphones or with phones. How could we live without the smartphones? And why didn't we measure ourselves? Why didn't we look at how our body is coping without waiting for the car crash? I love that analogy. And conversation like this, not just on a stage, are part of shaping that future. We are the people that needs to go out and speak about it, and maybe look like a fool. Like, I know when Steve Jobs released the first iPhone, the phones were like this small before, the Nokias. I don't know if there's any people in here with Nokia. Doesn't seem like that. So we moved on in that space, and I think it's time that we move up in the health space as well. So thank you all.